And we're live, guys.
Hi!
How's everybody doing?
Woo-hoo!
Yeah, this is a lot easier now that I have control over the actual stream. So it's not like it's just working. Please God, make it work. And if anyone's in the chat, let us know, and we can read them out here as well. So let's start this. Keen, how are you getting on?
Very well, thanks. Had our first social distancing picnic with our cousins yesterday, so in a very good mood. Thank you.
Oh, fantastic. Katie, how are you?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're currently turning the box room into an office space so that we can, but myself and Austin can both work from home. And we have coined the name the Box Office.
I like it. I like it. Bryn, what about
a refund on my Green Day tickets?
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Bryn, what about you?
Grand. Had a birthday last week, so that was nice.
Oh, nice.
Whose birthday was it?
It was my birthday.
It was his.
That's why I wasn't here.
That's why he wasn't here. He's like, I have better things to do than watch The Simpsons and talk BS.
Yeah. He's like, I'm not hanging with you nerds on my birthday.
I'm hanging with my cool friends to do cool things.
Yeah, I just watched Superman Red Son and Knives Out, which was awesome. So
I really want to see that.
Knives Out was very good.
Knives Out is instantly one of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It's so good.
I love it. It's just a shame everybody hates Rian Johnson for what he did to Star Wars, and I'm like, I like that movie, but it's like,
we don't have time for Star Wars, so
we don't move on.
Knives Out is incredible. Daniel Craig's weird Cajun accent and all.
Daniel Craig playing Kevin Spacey doing a southern accent is what happens on screen, and it's brilliant. And I endorse it in every possible way.
The whole movie is like, and what I love about it is it's basically Murder, She Wrote, right? And then they actually they lampshaded by having Italian Murder, She Wrote playing in one of the scenes, and I'm like, this is fantastic. I
think the only problem I have with it is that, or at least I think they might have edited it out of some cinema releases, but when I saw it, it starts off with Rian Johnson basically mansplaining what a mystery is.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Thank
I'm
God.
Not even kidding. Like, it was like, Irish film cert, like 12s and up logo. Then just literally Rian Johnson in a chair is like, "Hi everyone, I'm Rian Johnson. Now remember, this is a murder mystery, so don't tell anyone how it ends." And we're like, God, just get on with it.
Oh no!
I bet they still didn't do it though.
I mean, can you believe that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's dad the whole time?
Thank you, Mrs. Bull, the picture
I
for me.
asked you not to spoil the end of Knives Out.
It's so good though. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it about as much as I didn't really like the adaptation of Red Son, which was a bit like, it was good, but it was just like a bit underwhelming compared to how good the book the Superman book it's based on is. But yeah, and then it's just Dungeons and Dragons every Friday with my friends, which is nice. So the joys of conference calls.
Yeah. Can I tell a story of how I nearly rage shared today?
Yes.
Please do.
Right. Me and Dara, we follow this YouTube thing called Midnight's Edge.
Oh yes.
So they put one up today, which was The Last Jedi fans are starting to crack, and I went, "No, I'm not." So I kind of got arms out. I'll share this and I'll tell them down and all that kind of stuff. And I sat in it for an hour because I'm afraid the bots are going to come after me. So
yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, Keen is having a battle with Facebook bots.
The ire of the robot uprising.
It's specifically only going after Keen though. It's like
no, to be fair, the exact same thing happened to me the same day.
Oh, really?
I didn't say it, but I felt so vindicated when I saw you posting in the chat with all your posts, because like I'd done a big sharing thing like the night before, and I'm like, right, I'm really gonna push this week's episode in advance of the next week's episode, get a real thing going. And then I was like, you have 20 notifications. So I'm like, oh, hey, great. I click into them. And it was all Facebook saying, your post breaches community standards. Your post breaches community standards. And I'm like, what?
I wish somebody would tell me why Facebook hates SoundCloud so much.
When I posted mine and I got reported for it, they didn't just say I breached community standards. What they said was I was misleading people in order to get likes.
Wow.
It's artists without or anything.
Wow.
Damn those ugly artists trying to get likes.
Wow.
down this like voluntary work.
I wouldn't mind, right?
Okay. Spam,
here's the look. I'm shocked by that because SoundCloud seems to just Facebook hates it. But I'm in a bunch of groups like all the way through. So I've seen it in like tech groups and I've seen it in the Roman history group where it's just flat out spam porn. Literally. I was like, how did that get posted? And it's just like, how is this get posted? Yet something like SoundCloud instantly. No.
It's because they're jealous of their talented rappers, Dara. That's why it's
probably why. SoundCloud rappers, it's their fault. It's their fault.
Absolutely.
But well, look, for anyone, that's a best plug. We're on SoundCloud, we are, but the best way to share it is Spotify and YouTube, I suppose, so you don't get hit like Keen and Lisa and Katie did, obviously. So,
Dara, you're fine.
Yeah, that's because I don't post SoundCloud links ever.
Also, just to spite.
It's because of the volume of reports that the three of us got pretty much at the same time. I think somebody new started working like at the Facebook like content screening factory or something like that. It was just like, I'm going to show everybody how good I am at my job and control all the content. Everything's spam, and it's like, chill.
Yeah,
because it was all at the exact same time, kind of in the same frame of time, like
like pictures of Prim got flagged. Like, I mean, like Prim's mine.
I made her.
I was just gonna say that, like, it's somebody we have wronged in the past.
Yeah, I think it's a mutual friend that we all have that hates all of us.
And could
be.
How dare they be successful?
Well, we do have a conspiracy show on the network, so
you're right. That's the first day that went up.
This sounds like a job for a conspiracy podcast to break down.
If only we had one.
If only we had one. We could do a Knives Out whodunit.
Could we do like, I saw actually, to plug your thing, I saw you put up like a vote for what your next episode to be about. Could we put up a vote of suspects for who was like
did this?
doing up our videos?
We need to cross-reference all of our mutual friends.
Exactly.
We need like a Millhouse board with the reverse vampires on it and stuff.
However,
We're through the looking glass here, people.
I do request we email Daniel Craig to be on our Zoom chat to be like, right, he needs to reprise that role to break the person. That would just be it. But
in all seriousness, though, I think that you just need to exact revenge by posting all shared links to Twitter instead, just like with the hashtag saying Twitter's better than Facebook.
Hashtag Twitterbook.
Yeah.
Or you could use mine. Or
reclaim MySpace. Just bringing it back.
Bebo, man.
Or you could just use Minds.
Yeah.
Which is, is there and doesn't content. It's weird, though, right? Like, so many people I know work in content management, but they all like got time off for this COVID, thingamajig. And I don't want to say it because we'll get flagged. The disease thing that's going around, and the happening. But yeah, it's just like, and they're like, well, we've got a bunch of time off. So what probably happened, I'd say, is someone wrote really dumb bots. And it's just flagging everything because, like, I'm like, there's no way.
Safe than sorry.
It's just like if SoundCloud block. It's like that's it. There you go. Day's done.
Overlords.
Day is done. Literally 2 lines of code. Oh, ridiculous. Anyway,
SoundCloud block 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Like that's it. All right. Well, Kev, how are you? Your show's being recorded next week, right? We're still doing the intros. Exactly. Your show is dropping next week, right?
Dropping. I think it's dropping the 1st of June. That's the schedule.
Okay, fantastic.
Recording soon. It's coming.
It's coming.
We're gonna keep teasing it. It's coming.
Any minute now.
And Lisa, we can't see you, but how are you getting on?
I have no eyebrows. I cannot be seen.
That is fair. That's the rule.
I've just reached that point of lockdown where I'm like Mojo right now, just lying like surrounded by like
pray for
empty
Mojo.
packages of bread and beans, and I'm just like I can't like function.
It's
as
like
a human
the
anymore.
6th stage of quarantine where your body dissolves into a group of hamsters.
Like I'm amazed Bryn doesn't have a beard because me and Keen, who normally don't have beards, have beards from the quarantine, from lack
Even
of caring.
I've got a beard.
Exactly, you just can't see it because it's hidden.
Well, I'm not wearing it right now.
Oh yeah, so that's what you mean. You were doing your eyebrows.
Just shaving the beard.
Right. Taking the beard off and putting it
back on.
You got a balloon beard.
Ooh,
it's an idea. That's an idea.
Your Kofi thing's still up. I'll pay for that.
Bloombeard?
It is. No, I have to get back on that. I have a backlog of that also.
Patrick Swayze balloon figure.
Exactly. It needs to be done.
It's coming. I promise.
Little balloon arms folded.
So we're just waiting.
Stern frown on his face.
It will be worth it, I promise.
Lisa, after this, we need to have a chat about Ghost. I still have lots of feelings.
Are we talking about the Patrick Swayze movie or like the best band in the world?
Patrick Swayze. What's the best band in the world?
Ghost. Lisa, you are. You me. I will stand Ghost to the end.
You're
Why do you not like Ghost?
Who knows?
No, I love it. I just need someone to talk about with it.
It's funny.
You're both talking
confused right now, but let's just say there's Ghost and then there's Ghost.
I just know Ghost is the goodest boy, so like, not really sure what to make of the band.
We're all talking about Casper, right?
Yeah.
He's the friendly ghost.
Casper, the friendly ghost.
Right, well, let's steer this back onto some sort of topic. Lads.
Yeah. This, by the way, this is a Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
It is a Simpsons episode. And I was thinking, I'm like, actually, when I was watching the series, the same thing happened to me that happened to Katie, where I just watched it straight through. And I'm like, oh, Silent Bob, not Silent Bob, Sideshow Bob's here. I was like, Sideshow Bob's here. It's like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, I've gone too far. So then I just went back.
Now I went to Baboon County.
That's the thing. Knowing you two both did that, I was like, oh, okay, I have to know where to stop, apparently.
Yeah, and that was it, because I was
Sideshow Bob.
I was just like, once you hit Sideshow Bob, you're like, okay, I've gone too far. This, I think, has...
Take a left before Sideshow Bob. Otherwise, you've gone too far.
This has some of the best episodes in the whole series, and also it has like two which I really don't like. One that I really don't like, and one that I'm just kind of sick of.
Is
Monorail.
Is the one you really
not Monorail.
Is the one you really don't like the bottle episode?
The bottle episode.
Or are we just the clip show?
Oh yeah, no, sorry. That's included. No, we're not thinking about that at all. No, it's actually
Can I just say though, it's like I did not know that the Simpsons clip shows had brilliant, funny names.
Yeah.
Like, did you see that? I didn't know that this clip show was called "So It's Come to This."
Yeah, because in the lore, like around 11, that was when the show was supposed to end, like properly, but it just never did. So
actually, no. The one sticking point I noticed with the clip show, just because we're absolutely not going to come back to this, if it's kind of framed as memories, why are they remembering a Treehouse horror scene?
Well, because that episode they told stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not like the current ones that have no true line. At least this one has some kind of true line to it. Again, we're still at the point where this all is probably actually happening
outside of one instance.
Yeah.
All right, we're on the radio show. Save that for the conspiracy show.
Yeah.
I tell you, people better vote for time travel on that. I don't want to talk about flat Earth. Seriously,
guys, I voted for flat Earth. Keep the votes going.
If you're doing flat Earth, bring me in on.
No, I don't want to talk about flat Earth. No, please, no. Talk about time travel. Vote time travel.
No, I want the Mandela effect.
Okay, well that's fair. That's a fair one too.
Mandela effect.
The Mandela effect is interesting. That's a one too.
That's what I want.
So vote for either one of those. You can vote over on the page. Just don't vote for flat Earth. I'll go absolutely mad.
Just talk
I'm gonna use my spam powers to create a whole load of extra accounts to vote for the flat Earth.
You see, I actually wrote a little thing that stops that from happening, so it should be fine. Yeah,
1,000 spam bots writing 1,000 votes for flat Earth.
There's a spam.
We need you.
There's a spam bot blocker on it, so you can't do that.
We need the face bots.
Yeah, and there's a captcha as well, so don't worry. I thought about that ahead.
Best of times.
Exactly.
With the blurst of times.
So look, straight off the bat, right? I just want to say that I really don't like. I really don't like the clip show. Obviously, that says it. But there's another one as well. Selma's Choice has moments. Like it has the really good part. I am the Lizard Queen, which is fantastic.
Yeah. That's one of the best.
I love that one.
Okay, why? Tell me why.
Gardens, the whole
okay, hold on. Right. Duff Gardens is amazing. That whole sequence is phenomenal. Everything around it is very sad and depressing.
You leave Jub Jub out of this.
I don't like Jub Jub.
I love Chop Chop.
No.
Chop Chop. His one goal in life is to have a nice flat rock.
No, the collection of potato chips that look like celebrities.
Singing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead" on the way to a funeral. That's inspired.
Is that not
Sir,
just
would
what
you like another place tray?
Yeah, please. Fantastic joke. I did really enjoy that. See, but there are good jokes in it, but it's not one of the like overall. I'm like, oh, this.
It wouldn't be one of the top ones, but like
Homer Cleese cares not for beans.
Another
How
one.
do you do it, Homer? Well, you get a bed sheet.
Yeah.
Another one.
Marge, I would like another one with a sandwich,
doctor.
please.
Right. Another one
How can I stay mad at you?
Another one that I don't like because of the ending of it, which is a shame because it starts off the best. Camp Krusty. The ending of it.
They go to Tijuana.
They do, but there's no kind of resolution. It's like, oh, it's really good.
I agree with that.
Ends.
It's a very Family Guy ending. It just kind of
stops, and that's one thing that bugs me. So when I was watching it again, I'm like, oh, Homer the Heretic, I really don't like. I think it aged pretty bad. It aged pretty badly.
I relate so much.
Oh, I love it.
It's very relatable.
Katie, is there a particular reason you relate to it?
Well, because we were raised so religious. Like we were in my family, we were raised Mormon. So when we finally stopped going to church, when we decided don't want to be in the church anymore, it was very much like you're a heretic, you're going to hell kind of thing. And I relate to that so hard.
Fair. And I would say, you know,
there's something really satisfying about knowing that, like, it's like people keep telling me I'm going to hell for not going to church, and somehow I'm going, well, I'm able to lie in now, so fuck them.
But it's not even that. It's the whole thing of, like, you know, even Homer's argument where it's like, is God really going to punish one person for not going to church?
Yeah.
It's very hard not to be Bart in that conversation.
Well, what I would say there is what it feels like. You know, the way we still had that kind of layover from season 1 and 2. This feels like one that is kind of still in 1 and 2. It's
true, but I think it's funnier than those ones. Like, I love him bringing the animals.
Oh, definitely. It has a joke, but the actual, like, meat and potatoes of it is still very small.
That's fair. The morality story thing is still there. Yeah.
Actually, that episode has one of my favorite moments from The Simpsons as well, where, you know, where the house is on fire and Flanders throws Homer out the window and he hits the mattress and goes back.
And Flanders has to backflip back in.
It is fantastic.
Although backward somersault is one of the most beautiful things ever animated.
Although here's the thing, massive plot hole from a show that happened 30 years ago. Why is Flanders home
on a Sunday
when everyone's at church?
Yeah.
Maybe he was coming back to check on Homer because he in his conscious Christian conscience could not allow Homer to stay at church, and he knew that the Lord would forgive him for leaving church early to go bring a lost sheep back to the flock.
That is a good point.
He could have gone earlier.
How is that not as big a plot hole as Krusty being a fireman? I saved your cat.
I did it.
Krusty has a lot of jobs.
What's this axe for? Chopping wood. And chopping wood.
The final one on this controversial little list of mine. Marge gets a job. Marge gets a job, or Lisa's first word. Marge gets a job is better because of the jokes and actually has some of my favorite moments in it.
Lisa's first job.
Lisa's
I'm
first.
Not a fan.
Lisa's first words, I don't like.
I love it to bits because it reminds me of Prim and my dog.
Fair.
Just their relationship where she's in love with him and he's like, "You're stealing my space."
Fair.
Oh. I hate Homer's triple bypass. That episode just.
Oh, really? It has so many good Dr. Nick moments though.
Like what a lovely day.
Dr. Nick moments overall. Like I think season 4 is really divided. It's like half of it is like the best episodes out of the entire 30 season franchise, and then the other half are just really like meh or very dull and depressing.
I think that it definitely doesn't feel as consistent across the board as last season.
Yeah.
Now the highs are higher, but I think the lows are a little lower.
Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of
maybe just that the highs are so high that the standard of the previous seasons looks
just knocked
flat
up. Yeah.
Comparison.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really interesting in this season is that, like, even in the episodes that I don't think there's an episode in the season that's like in any way remotely close to being bad. But in every single episode, even the ones that you probably don't enjoy as much, they still have some of them. Like I would still say they have like much more punchier jokes than the previous seasons.
Oh, most definitely.
Where
definitely. Yeah.
When they hit very, very hard. But it's just those episodes that are like top tier are not just top tier for this season; they're top tier for the entire run. That's how good they are, and it's kind of like when you're listening to like a really good album, then you listen to the follow up, and you're like, well, the first one was amazing, and it's not going to beat that. So like it's that same kind of a situation.
But here's the thing, right? On that point, at the clip show, that's where the break. According to the theory, that's where the break is, where everything after it is Homer's wild imagination.
Yeah.
Tune into From the Dark podcast airing this Friday.
No, it's not airing this Friday. It's next Friday. I need time to discover. But no, like, and if you watch it with that kind of mindset, the jump starts to get a bit wild. Like the front, fair enough. Whacking Day.
Oh, go come after Whacking Day.
I know I'm not, but I'm saying is the jump is starting to get more and more.
Okay.
No, Whacking Day. That entire episode is just in poor taste.
Great.
Marriage in Chains, and then Krusty gets cancelled. The scope of that. By the way, Krusty gets cancelled has my favorite bit in The Simpsons in general. Like in general. It's when Reverend Lovejoy is talking, he's like Gabbo this and Gabbo that. They should be talking about worship this and Jericho that, and I just fucking die. I just start crying. It's the funniest thing ever.
Yeah, no, I think I do not know how many times like a week I end up quoting the Red Hot Chili Peppers bit. Where
everyone can enjoy that.
I'd like to hug and kiss you.
Chili Willy. Hug and kiss you. That's much better. Everyone can enjoy that.
I actually sing that when that song comes on.
Something I didn't notice about Krusty Gets Cancelled, because I've got the wiki in front of me because I can't keep which ones are season 4 straight in my head. Note, this is the only episode up to date where Marge, despite her prominence, doesn't have a single line of dialogue.
Oh,
that would make sense.
Well spotted, sir.
That would make sense. I suppose she doesn't really do anything in the show.
Yeah, it's a Lisa and Bart heavy episode, like so. And
but to be fair, even Homer doesn't really do anything because he's just kind of there, like he facilitates a lot of the kids getting around, but he's not really doing anything. There's no
obviously they had to just push them aside to make room for Bette Midler.
By the way, Bette
Midler
pushing the car off the cliff.
Right.
Speaking of Marge, can I just say the episode A Streetcar Named Marge, I think, is one of my favorite episodes ever.
Yes, I was gonna say watching these on Disney Plus. It's so This is the first episode I really loved in the Simpsons run so far. Yeah. Like it speaks to all the theater things I know, and actually just because my dad played on an actual Streetcar Named Desire opera, this one always just makes me laugh the whole way through. Like,
but here's one thing as well. Sorry, just before you jump in, Katie, that this actually got the Simpsons in a lot of hot water with New Orleans for the song.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I can see that.
He actually had to apologize for the song.
Oh yeah.
For New Orleans. Sorry, Katie, go for it.
When I was a kid, I thought it was "you audience, rotten, filthy, blah blah." You audience. Yeah. Like, why are they insulting me? I thought it was like breaking the fourth wall in the extreme, and it wasn't. But when you're a kid, But I just love the way that just the quotability is unreal in A Streetcar Named Marge. All the Alfred Hitchcock references, and as well, I think we'd reached that point with the 3 to 4 seasons where we'd kind of seen the kind of crap that Marge had to take from Homer, and it was really endearing to see her do something for herself and kind of try and struggle against living with such a domineering kind of brutish kind of overpowering force. Even though the love was there, it was nice to see her do something for herself. And it was funny as well that she was kind of paired with Flanders, and it was kind of similar to her and Jacques from the previous seasons, where are they going to have an affair? Are they not going to have an affair? I just thought there was this kind of little nuances that showed ultimately the test of like Marge and Homer's love.
Yeah, you're right. And actually Homer is forced to actually learn a lesson in some respects, which when she went off to Rancho Relaxo, he did not. Like,
No, not at all.
He actually learned it this time.
He did, and like it's really poignant, and he just But I love I can't remember his name. Is it John Leguizamo who plays what's the director?
John Lovitz.
The director. John Lovitz.
Yeah, and it's
John Lovitz.
Stop bothering my Blanche. I've had 3 heart attacks and I'm aiming for a 4th.
Yeah, so good.
I had a director like that on a play once.
Really?
I've been a director like that on a play once.
I have to say, the scariest person ever that I dealt with in anything like that is costumes designer. Costume designer in Game of Thrones is the scariest woman you'll ever meet in your life. So watch out.
Can we also address the Great Escape with Maggie?
Yeah.
Hey, okay, hold on.
Also has the best sight gag of all time.
Yeah, like
the Ayn Rand School for Tots.
Yeah, now that upset me. But it's okay. I let it go. I let it go, and I'm like, you know what? She's right. You teach them. You know,
She's saying, "I am a leech."
Exactly. Teach them objectivism. Start them young. This is fine.
It goes from like The Great Escape into Mission Impossible into Birds.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's so great.
There's a few things more haunting than that. Just
so much. So much Hitchcock in this, but the whole season, there's a bunch of Kubrick as well. We get one of the most famous ones in Duffless.
Yeah. I'd hands down say that's probably the best Maggie subplot that there is in the run as well. Without much in the way of competition for it.
It's Maggie's really shining light. But like, what else could they really do? You know, because like as you said, the family was so kind of tied up with this this marriage centric plot really that anything else would have taken away from it. So having Maggie pretty much just do something that didn't require dialogue, and it is very side heavy, is actually quite a smart idea.
I always think Maggie just kind of works best as just kind of like standalone silent comedy bits. I think that's where she really shines the best. So it's better to not have a whole kind of plot revolving around her.
Yeah.
But this one, like, it was a rare instance where like a whole kind of arc of hers actually really nailed it.
Yeah, it was really good. Like it's a shame. Like I feel bad because like we're jumping over what is like the best episodes of The Simpsons right now.
Oh, we'll get there. I think we're just kind of nitpicking right now. We'll get there. But yeah, just talking about Streetcar Named Marge. I just think it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of reflective that like where you have like again this really really great Marge episode. I think what's the name? I have the list. Hang on a sec. I just had it. I think Marge Gets a Job has aged terribly.
Hold on, it's aged terribly, but it's also really really good.
It's got some funny moments. I think overall it's really sour.
The Angel of Death.
The Angel of Death, like that's the best thing. And then he gets the cocks the gun and gets him walks out. And you're like, oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I'm sorry, man. It's so funny.
Just being like, God damn it, Mr. Burns is being creepy right now.
The fantasy of how he envisions her husband Homer is just brilliant. It's like him now,
senile fool
in his sweater and tossed around his shoulder.
The senile old fool. It's so good.
In the episode's defense, though, it doesn't pull its punches. Like they do refer to it as sexual harassment. Like, and I think that is for a cartoon, for any show in the 90s. I think it's held up in that respect that it calls it out for what it is. You would get that kind of behavior in television, and it wouldn't be commented on. You know.
Well, look, put it into context, right? This was in 1992, like 1992, early 93, right?
Yeah.
Actually, it was November 1992, and at the same time, you know, you'd have shows where this would just be part of the show.
Yeah.
You know, like even later on in Friends and stuff like this, lots of sexual harassment of that by the main characters. Totally fine. You know, in this, at no point was Mr. Mr. Burns is the villain, really, in general of the show.
But like,
he does kidnap Tom Jones. Let's not forget that too.
No, and it's not only kidnaps him, but like there's a gun up to his back. Like it's just, so at no point is presented as a good thing.
It's just there's something like it just kind of felt uncomfortable to watch at some points.
That's fair.
That's fair. I'll give you that.
And then having him kind of incur no real repercussions for it. Like it felt a little hollow.
Yeah.
Well,
and the Bart subplot with the wolf also feels very series 1 and 2, even though it is brilliant to have Willie fighting the wolf.
It was a little forgettable.
You go ahead.
Sorry, it's like the moment when you realize that Willie is jacked as all hell.
Yeah, he just shredded. It's like, wow. But I actually thought that was, when I was watching it again, I didn't realize that Bart's subplot was there. I thought it was much later on, so to see it there, I was like, oh, this is the one where he says, what? Oh, my ovaries.
Yeah. Loud, that's our secret word of the day.
It's like, her claws really hurt. She crushes rocks with them.
Get him off, get him off.
It's brilliant.
Protect your baby.
She must be up to
I
her
only
age.
ate one egg.
I only ate
So
one.
good.
But what, like,
Okay,
I
maybe it's not so forgettable.
yeah, it's not. See, that's the thing. Even, like, I think that is the lowest rated one, except for the clip show. And even still, that has some fantastic jokes in it.
Can
It's
I
just-
stand up for the clip show, actually? I know, maybe it's because I know that there are worse ones to come. Like, we watched the Love one the other day. But, like, I think
I hate that
there's
one
enough...
so much.
No, hear me out. Like, there's enough DNA in this first clip show to almost make it its own episode. Like, I remember the fridge exploding and Homer trying to get the chocolate
I
out of the
forgot
thing.
that. Like,
and
I
all the
always
people
remember
coming,
that
like...
joke, but I forget that I could never remember that it was part of a clip show.
That's the thing. I was the same. I was like, where does that come from? That's a weird joke to just have floating. And then you're like, oh, it's in a clip show. That's why I don't remember it. But here's the thing, like, they were still trying with this. Again, I thought they were still like, oh, you know, actually, here's a good thought experiment for you before you jump in. Imagine watching this in 1992 and week after week getting these super high tier shows new. That's amazing when you think about it. You're like, wow, this was just a weekly television show.
Yeah.
I know it still is, but you know, it was a good weekly television show, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange to think about, but then again, you have to also take in the context that this was like South Park back when it was going out. This was really upsetting people, like.
Oh yeah, no, this completely.
This was the zeitgeist.
Yeah,
This was pop culture. Like,
take it from the Mormon kid. I wasn't allowed to watch it.
Fair. Look, to be fair, Katie, we shouldn't have been watching it as kids. You're like, in reality, like when you're going back and watching this, and even I've said it before, but Bryn and myself are wrestling fans. We shouldn't have been watching wrestling at the late 90s, but we did. Because our parents didn't know what it was, and that was the truth of it.
Yeah. I won't say which one, but we just watched a later from the series Treehouse of Horror story, and as kids it didn't bother us. As an adult, it made me very frightened and uncomfortable. I wanted to see if anyone watching can figure out which one it is. It's after season 4.
Oh.
Do you know what though? I have never seen a Treehouse of Horror episode that was more disturbing than Dark Stanley.
Oh God, that wasn't even a Treehouse of Horror episode, was it?
No, it was just a regular episode.
But they just put it in at the end. Yeah, no, that actually made my brother cry.
Yeah,
when he was a kid.
Dark Stanley.
So Bart tells the kids this story about like an old cafeteria chef. That like
this is like much later. Yeah.
But it's not just the story, it's the animation and the music and everything. It's just really creepy. Yeah, it's almost like Coraline or something.
I don't know why I can't place it. I'll have a look at later.
Episode Yokel Chords in series 18.
Oh, that's why I haven't seen it. Okay.
It's the one where Lisa like adopts a band of hillbillies.
Yeah, okay,
and they all sing music.
I have seen it. Yeah. I just thought I can't place it though. I'll have to watch it again.
You should look up that Dark Stanley clip.
Yeah.
I will. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
So moving forward here, right? A lot of dream sequences in this, but a lot of really good dream sequences in this. A lot of really like before we get to the clip show, there's lots of cutaways and there's lots of gags. So the shows kind of get beefed up a bit. My favorite one actually for this is Last Exit to Springfield, where they're like, what happened to the union leader? And he's just in the football pitch.
Oh yeah, Last Exit to Springfield is my favorite episode of the series.
It's fantastic.
We're waiting for him to turn up safe and sound.
And he was laughing. But also, you know, where he's like, where'd you get that scar? Oh, in the strike of '86. He's like, where's my burrito?
Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
There's someone on YouTube who took that moment and remixed it to the rap song Candy Shop, and it's absolutely wonderful.
I don't know if it was just one guy had thought of the idea of like repeating phrases in somebody's head is a funny thing. Because that come up a lot this season.
The dental plans.
Dental plans used to be phrases. OJ, orange juice, Sheriff Lobo.
Yeah.
Kind of like cyclical memory thing. Those kind of cyclical memory phrases.
Yeah. Hired goons.
At sleep, clown will eat me.
Iron helps us play. Hello, Joe.
Oh well, you can't talk about dream sequence and not talk about, because we were talking about kind of thing into Hitchcock into this. They go Yellow Submarine into Tim Burton Dark Knight.
Oh, that is one of the best ones. Is when Lisa's getting the braces and he puts the mask on and it's like the Yellow Submarine. It's so good.
Watch out for the canopy drawer of Queen Victoria.
The Big Book of British Smile still gets me though.
It's Lisa in the sky.
Why do you make this?
That's some lies. No, it's just like, so it's like, is Maggie sucking on a pacifier? No. Liar! Brilliant.
Lisa,
I will introduce you to some instruments to make them more appealing for you. We call this one the scraper. This one the pointer.
This is Lisa at age 21.
But have any of you guys ever had braces?
I did.
Yes.
Yeah. It is exactly like that.
It is, yeah. Literally.
Oh, this set a precedent for like my feeling towards dentists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact
this is the gouger.
The fact that they have like a scary.
This happy little fellow.
It's the poker.
I don't know. I to be fair, like I was expecting when I got my braces to have the Big Book of British Smiles. It wasn't there. It was like one of the first disappointment with The Simpsons. The second big one was when Hooray for Hollywood wasn't in Guys and Dolls. Still should be in there.
This is going to be welcome to our recurring segment.
Still be in there. Just gonna say.
Starting a change.org petition. Sign up.
If we get a bigger audience, that's what's gonna happen. I swear. It's gonna.
I can send you a song about being a dentist from the what's it called? Little Shop of Horrors.
Shop of Horrors. Yeah. No, familiar with that.
Classic.
Guys, Mr. Plow is in this season.
Oh, there's another classic.
Senior Plow. So it's muchos alcoholic. Oh God. Mr. Plow. One of the best episodes ever.
The first great Adam West animation performance.
One at a time. One at a time. I know we're all excited. One at a time.
Yeah. Should we put our hands up?
Yeah. Okay, Kane, you first. Here's the hand up.
The Adam West moments. Family Guy got 3 good seasons just out of basically ripping off Adam West's performance in this.
Yeah.
But it was Adam West.
Then why doesn't Batman dance anymore? I know, but he becomes in Family Guy. He becomes the mayor doing that kind of crazy stuff. Like,
but that's just Adam West. He's like that.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Well, he was like that. Ripping pepperoni. Fairly
Odd Parents too. He was like a Batman. He was like a superhero.
He was Catman.
Catman. Yeah.
Catman.
Oh man, Adam West. Like, even though probably all grew up watching the '60s Batman show.
Yeah.
I have much more love for Adam West after this episode. Like, and then his career basically was just being a parody of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like everybody loves Adam Wee. You know.
Has anyone here seen the Return to the Batcave?
No.
Film? Oh man,
I did hear, but that was like the 70s based one. I heard about it. I never saw it.
It's basically like a dramatized. It's like a dramatized story of the making of the 1960s Batman show, where half of it is set in present day. Where
I have seen this. Yes, sorry.
Adam West and Burt Ward are trying to find the stolen Batmobile, and then it just like does these flashbacks. So it's like actors playing them doing the show, and it's brilliant. It's so damn funny as well.
Yeah, doesn't it have a lot about him and Burt Lancaster's like relationships and that kind of stuff in it?
It's like Burt Ward lost his.
Burt Ward, sorry.
Yeah, Burt Ward. His wife left him because she couldn't handle him kissing women on screen.
Oh no.
Also, like his stunt double was never available to do stunts, so he'd have to do his own stunts.
That's literally the worst stunt double ever.
Yeah.
And like there was like, and then in the actual present day stuff, there's a recurring thing where Adam West makes Burt Ward pay for everything. It opens up with one of the best jokes related to Batman that's ever come on, where like Adam West is in his main room in his home. He's like, and his butler comes and goes, "Oh, thank you, Alfred. What do you have for me?" It's like, "It's Jerry, sir." I've worked here for 20 years. My name is Jerry. Hands him this thing for it's like the invite what he has to go for. He's like, oh great, I'll get there right now, and like presses a button on the bus in the hallway, opens up the briefcase, the bookcase behind him, and goes down the pole. Gets down there, and Jerry's there. He's like, Jerry, how did you get here so fast? I took the stairs, sir. What, stairs? It's so good. You have to find it. It's amazing.
It is amazing, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One of the best additions to this is just the really low rent commercial that they do.
Oh yeah.
Old Man Winter.
Old Man Winter.
Old
Yeah.
Man Winter. It's fantastic.
Are you legislated by the state, Homer?
Shut up, boy. Like you really just feel like there's a really good dynamic that I miss in The Simpsons with Homer and Bart, where like Bart is just a little you know what to his dad, and it's like it's just really 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 funny. And this was just top tier kind of stuff. I do want to talk about. Now, we won't go too much into it because we do. It's one of those shows that episodes that everyone talks about. Marriage versus the Monorail. Personally,
oh yes,
yes.
And may I say, may the force be with you.
Do you even know who I am?
You want a little rascals?
I'm going to go on record and say it's probably my favorite episode of The Simpsons.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the only that and the one with the dental plan are the only two where I jumped in the air when they came on TV.
It's kind of hard like to pick which one because they're both so good. I think Marriage vs. the Monorail exit out by a tiny bit, but it's not much. It's not much.
I'm gonna put my hand up right now and say that when I was watching through the season, I actually skipped this one.
That's okay.
Only because I have seen it so many times.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I nearly did that too, but then I got like 5 minutes in. I'm like, nah, it's too good. Yeah. It's too good. Yeah, it's too good. Yeah.
I knew I shouldn't have stopped that haircut.
Mono means fun and rail means rail. This concludes your intensive training.
One of the things that
newest drivers everywhere.
One of the things I want to highlight is Conan O'Brien wrote the episode for this.
Yep, and
he was terrified. He thought this was going to ruin The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Oh, he was pitching it in series 1, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was, and he was convinced it wasn't going to work.
He also wrote the song, the Monorail song.
Yeah.
Ah.
Homer, I have someone here who wants to talk to you.
Is it Batman?
No, he's a scientist. Batman's a
scientist.
To be fair,
I should our power. When will people learn?
To be fair, when people ask me things, I usually answer with Batman.
Yeah.
And it's just say it's Batman. So is
Who's at the door? Batman. Of course I'm Batman.
So
the doors weren't automatic on the Enterprise. We had somebody behind the scenes pulling the doors open.
Somebody wants to
trade seats.
Sure.
No, the world needs laughter.
Solar eclipse. The cosmic dance continues.
Switch seats.
One of the best memes is with the cosmic dance, and it's like he's like, oh, the cosmic ballet continues, and it's just like the picture of like the little bear in the car, what Homer thinks is ballet, and it's just like best Simpsons crossover meme with itself ever.
Okay, I'm gonna put myself on the firing line here. It's my second favorite of the season, eked just barely out by The Front.
I like the front. I like the front a lot.
Or the front so much.
The front
That's the episode I saw the least growing up on TV for whatever reason.
That's the one I had least appreciation for as a kid, but now really appreciate it.
Which one is that? I can't recognize it.
It's the one where Bart and Lisa write the Itch and Scratchy script, but then they don't get it through. They just put it under Abe's name.
Yeah.
Hey, stop! You can both marry me.
I had a 6-shooter in my garter belt.
They pay me $1,000 a week to tell a cat and mouse what to do.
That is probably my favorite.
Too loud. I am not a crackpot.
No, that's probably my favorite bit is where Homer just imagines him wheeling Grandpa up to the mental hospital. Like, la, la, la.
There's something about because like knowing that all of the Simpsons writers are like science degrees and like philosophy PhDs. when like the head of Itchy Scratch Studios is giving out them all for being Harvard alumni.
Yeah.
That's just the writers calling themselves out, and that's hilarious.
It's like, hey, you sing FL Harvard. He throws the thing at him.
It's a shame that Roger Myers is never as funny as he is in this episode, because like firing the writers, and then when Abe says, "Oh no, we're doomed," she's like, "Well, I wasn't listening," and now I gotta go.
Oh no, we're doomed.
This was the first time I ever saw an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon, and I hated it.
I didn't like it one bit. You people should be ashamed.
Actually, I must say, the Itchy and Scratchy cartoons, and that'll make me deeply uncomfortable. The first really good laughs I got were Elvis shooting the TV, and then Scratchy wearing his own fur, and then getting beaten up by the fur protesters.
Or at least they were onto something.
They were onto something.
Is this the one with the most episodes of Itchy and Scratchy in it as well?
They really
if you include the ow as well,
and the movie as well. Yeah. So the Itchy Scratchy movie that hits on so many levels. It's actually like scary because like pre-internet.
Maggie learns to drive.
Not well.
There's a pig driving a car. A dog driving a bus.
Wiggum.
He still hasn't learned how to be a police officer. So
can we talk about Wiggum for a second? Because like early on, he is just uninterested in his job, and later on, he becomes more Homer-y. I'm not sure where we quite are on that scale yet. It goes from like cynical to stupid. Like
he's opening nuts with his gun. I think we're into Homer.
Well, see, I Love Lisa, I think, is the one where he crossed that line, because not only is he stupid, but he's horrifically corrupt. Where he's like making Homer's life hell, and you're like, well, man, you've just gone from not the
clamp on Mrs. Hoover's car.
Yeah, but he also fears an actual uprising when Homer mentions it.
An actual uprising.
No, have they set a date?
If we can bring it back to the monorail, just the town charter scene with him and Quincy.
Yes, and just checking it.
Fuck some lasses every quarter.
It's like, wait, keep
how many broads do I get?
But that's what I mean. He goes from being like just a very cynical person to a kind of a dense person very quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he never figured out that one of his subordinates is the father of his child. So
that's true.
And to be fair, once you see that, it can never be unseen.
No.
So,
allegedly.
Well, it looks so like him. It looks incredibly like him. So I was like, there you go. Right. We need to touch on this, because Keen, you brought this up on the Facebook page, Whacking Day.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Okay. I'm sensing there's a divide here. I don't know where it is. So who hates Whacking Day and why?
I
who
love
likes
it to bits.
I don't hate it, but I think it's in poor taste.
Okay.
Against snakes or the Irish?
Yeah, because hold on. Well, one thing I will say, right? The Simpsons, and one thing that I'm shocked by that nobody picked up on, the Simpsons, like the Irish get a really bad rep in the Simpsons. Like we're the butt of all the jokes.
They do, but the jokes are based on the fact that the Irish are treated shoddily when they came to America. So that's what I read it as.
But the Irish racism thing is like that stopped being a thing in like the 60s.
But like the thing about it as well is
You go first, Katie. Sorry.
No, yeah. The thing about it as well is like any Irish person, you can say something really horrible, mean to them,
and you'll have a laugh.
Go, well, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. But
and a fine job you did too.
And literally that's in the show. But like, I think that's funny. Like when people bring up the, I'm like, you should probably watch it from an Irish perspective. We just take the joke.
I am much more offended by like the episode with Liam Neeson in it, where Barthold's Catholic, or the episode where they go to Ireland.
To be fair,
I am about one leprechaun saying one line in an episode. You know what I mean?
No, but I will say is this is like funny Irish jokes, and there's loads of them, like loads of them. But the one, the Liam Neeson one, that is like.
Oh god!
Yeah, that's not okay. It's not okay. Like, and I'm like,
no,
it's
River
really
Dancing in Heaven. No, and the Irish one's what offends me the most about the Irish one. I know we'll get to it in like 30 podcasts time. Just the little errors, like the policemen are dressed like they are in the UK,
and they're called police.
Red.
Yeah.
The centre of Dublin has a bloody forest in it.
Yeah, it's like
where?
It's like just go. Like Dublin had a forest. I'd go there all the time to get away.
Well,
from
it's got Stephen's Green, but I don't think the guy from Once is playing there.
Exactly.
No,
but no, it's just something to mention. Like there's loads of Irish jokes in this, and it's just they're funny. But I'm just like, there's a lot of them. and it's just kind of funny that it's just something that's never mentioned. You know,
I wouldn't be offended by that as like maybe like an Italian person would be offended by the guy who runs the pizzeria.
Also, a lot of
Luigi,
also a lot of Italian jokes as well. So I don't know which one has more, but they're the two that really get it like off full blast. But it's always funny and it's always a bit of crack.
And it's Apu that people got upset by, like, you know, some 20 years after the fact. Like, and I consider him to be a fully rounded character, like
more rounded than the leprechaun in the bar, anyway. But
even in Homer the Heretic, like the Homer Homer poking fun at Ganesha, that didn't feel like them poking fun at Hinduism. It felt them more poking fun at Homer's ignorance.
I mean, this extends to any joke, irrespective of The Simpsons. Context is important. The context is Homer is being horrible. The context is not The Simpsons is being offensive to that, you know?
Exactly. Like, you know, I think it's like what we said about the Marge Gets a Job. Like, Mr. Burns is a horrible person.
Yeah.
Thus, he's going to do horrible things. So
he's got 10 high-priced lawyers.
Exactly. And oh god. But no,
you just sit behind a wall at all times.
But
bad enough.
Like Whacking Day does have Barry White in it, who has a fantastic cameo. One of the only times where like him being himself actually isn't like it serves a purpose. He shows up.
It's a plot point.
It's a plot point. Yeah, it's like it makes sense. Like literally going through Homer's record collection, and it's like chipmunks and all this kind of stuff.
Like even when he finds out why he's there in the first place, that he's like, "Oh my god, you people make me sick."
Yeah.
I don't think we brought this up on the baseball player one last week. I know that's like our control episode for celebrities.
Yeah.
The Simpsons got very good performances out of their celebrities, even when they weren't actors. I'd love to know how they did that.
This shocked me. You mentioned who some of these people were on the guest cast, which I never really noticed because I don't watch them on Disney Plus. I just when I watched them on the PS3 and then flicked through the ending and the beginning. So yeah, Keen, who's actually in this season?
So, not as many this season. There's more kind of still Phil Hartman and John Lovitz. It's more who plays Ruth Powers again. She's kind of the only new major character. Yeah. We've got the likes of Adam West and we have 2 appearances from Liz Taylor being Maggie and herself. We've Leonard Nimoy. We've got not many this season, actually, I've got to say. Like the likes of Brooke Shields as well in the front we mentioned earlier. But what we do get instead is we get... Oh, and obviously Krusty Gets Cancelled. There's like a billion celebrities. Obviously, they used all of their celebrity money for the one outing.
Yeah.
But what we do get is a few characters added to the series that weren't there before. Like, what's his name? Dr. Nick actually is a doctor in this. Superintendent Chalmers pops up. Bumblebee Man pops up. So we've got a lot of characters popping in for Ralph actually gets a story as opposed to being a background character.
Yeah.
We get a lot of characters who are either introduced or taken from the corner and made into characters, you know.
The universe gets a lot bigger very fast in this one. One thing, right, I love...
Oh, and Tom Jones, obviously, getting hit by being held at gunpoint as well. That should be worth mentioning.
Pre-beard Tom Jones.
Yeah.
So, I will say, Brother from the Same Planet is great. I love the story and also has some of the best use of physical comedy so far outside of Homer falling down the gorge where he's fighting. It's like, this is even more painful than it seems and it looks. It's like,
look, really, another disadvantage.
The starfish as Death Star at the Tom that puts in the shark.
There you go, fellas.
It's such a good, well-written show. It's one that actually feels later. When I went back and watched this, I was like, oh, this is season 4. I thought this was...
I assumed it was like series 6 or 7.
Yeah, same. It feels...
This was one that got played constantly.
Sophisticated.
Yeah, and actually, is there... No, what is the subplot? The subplot is Lisa's addiction to the coal lines.
Yeah.
Oh, and we've got...
Corey. Story.
Corey.
Which gives us one of the best Skinner gags, which is him going to the window and, like, again, the Hitchcock house talking to him, like...
Dictatorship doesn't fit me anymore, mother.
I'm allowed to be in school. I work here.
I'm a grown man. That's so good.
I love it when they go into like Dark Skinner. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I miss that.
Skinner, I love it.
Well, one thing about it is we didn't see Agnes yet, so once we saw her, the mystique was kind of pulled away.
Yeah, she's actually. I don't think she pops up until series 5, but in her first appearance, she's actually relatively pleasant, isn't she?
She is in. Well, like she doesn't have any speaking roles, but she is in this season. She gets the Osaka flu.
Oh wait, I'm wrong. Yeah. She was way back in series 1 in the one where Bart got sent to France because she called him Spanky.
Oh no, I know. I think that was someone else. I don't think that was her.
I think that
was. She was in an earlier season though with the cherry bomb.
Yeah, that's it. That's Spanky.
Oh God, yeah. I need to use the little girl's room.
Right. You're right. The mystique was built up around her, and then once she became a character, you couldn't kind of do that again. Like
Marriage in Chains also has taken on a new life based on The Happening.
I've heard that, but it's not from China. It's from Japan, though.
Yeah, it's the Osaka flu, and it's not. So anyone who thinks that is a bit silly, and watch the episode because it's
some of the jokes are just a little funnier now considering the circle. The placebo thing, that's even more funny.
That's
Where
amazing.
do we get these placebos?
Turn this truck, and it's like the better bees.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Can I just ask about something? Because I think, especially Kev, with your animation degree, you're gonna understand this better. When they have a scene in Japan, is that scene animated poorly on purpose? Where they're like talking, and it's like
I think that's supposed to be like a poor dubbing thing.
Yeah. Okay, I thought that was as a kid, I just didn't get that whatsoever. But now I have a greater appreciation.
It's a strange joke, I think, but like I think that's the point.
Even the fact that they like kind of finish talking and laughing and they keep going, like, you know.
I think that was supposed to be a joke of like
throwback to the old B movies where they'd be like poor dubbed.
Exactly.
Even the Rugrats did that during like a Godzilla episode, and they
I forgot about Reptar
so much when I was a kid. But they were like in Japan, but like the voices would be moving, but there'd be no talking. There'd be talking and no voices moving, and I'm like, what's happening?
Speaking of, I wonder how far away we are from the Japan episode of The Simpsons.
We're still quite far away. Don't worry, we're getting it.
We're not far away from Mr. Sparkle.
Oh my goodness!
Guys, on that note, for anyone listening on Phoenix FM, we're going to take our break. If you're watching the stream, we're going to keep going. So we'll talk to you next week if you're on Phoenix FM. For everyone watching the stream, let's continue. I need to find a better way to do that because it's just like a hard break. But anyway,
we'll just record the actual ending and just like glue it on. Like
that's usually what I do. That's usually what I do. Yeah. But it's like when you're listening to. I don't know if you listen to podcast like wrestlers podcast. You guys wouldn't, but Bryn probably knows what I'm talking about. When you listen to them, there's always like Chris Jericho does all the time. He's like,
oh God,
yeah. So that was really funny. Now talking about our sponsor, and it's just it's just like he just edited it in at random points. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I just want to be more upfront with people watching the stream. Right, look, the Osaka flu is a funny episode. I would say that Mr. Sparkler one, really looking forward to that one myself. So
it's a great episode.
But we are really far away from them going to Japan because that's when the show starts to dip quite a bit.
Oh, that's well on the dip.
I thought that was earlier.
No, I know it's I want to say it's season 8. But I don't think
it's later than 8.
Yeah, I think it's for me, the curve starts after the 10-year special where they do a Behind the Laughter, and it's well after that.
I love Behind the Laughter is one of my favorite ones.
Oh, that's great.
Is it season 10?
Then it starts curving off.
Yeah. I had a moment there the other day when I was watching this, and I was like, I wonder if like after all this is done, we could have a look at like the movie. I'm sure that fit in around like what we're watching at some point. No, the movie didn't happen until like season 18. It's like, I guess we're just not doing that then.
Yeah. No, like when the movie came out, it's like well past its prime. But the movie,
the movie was the kind of saving great throw for The Simpsons that just didn't work, you know.
Yeah.
But it was probably a case of where at that point they were saving all the best jokes for the movie.
I think that's what happened. I think that's what they were doing. They just kind of pumped it all in. That's why the movie's pretty good. But like,
it's okay.
Yeah, well,
it's got an Irish character in it.
Colin, is that
He's
Colin?
Not Bono.
My dad's not Bono.
My dad's not Bono. Oh man,
which is a very Kalini specific joke that I find hilarious.
Yes, I agree. As someone who went to school with one of Bono's kids.
Oh wow.
My driving instructor.
That there, Ian.
I'm just saying it's a gag that hit home.
My driving instructor loved to tell me about how he taught Bono's kid how to drive.
I'm just saying, if you're near Killiney, like it just gets brought up a lot.
Everyone has
it just
a Bono
happens.
story.
Yeah. It's like an Irish thing where you're allowed to complain about Bono and brag that you met him.
That's fair. That actually, well, I was going because we're off the radio and we're streaming. I remember when I was my bus would remember buses. Remember buses where you could get on buses.
Buses were a thing.
Buses were a thing. It used to be on the way in when you'd come in from the north side into Dublin, past going into up by Guinness's, and there was a power box, and just written on the power box there was Bono was a pox. And I was just like, this is
That's one of the most iconic like Dublin phrases ever.
It was
Bono is a pox.
Is a pox, and it was there for years. And when it was taken away, I'm like, that should have been framed and put in a museum. This is the best thing ever.
It better have been taken and put in the goddamn National Gallery.
Exactly, that's where it belongs.
Like one of those, the Dublin canvas.
Mm.
Yeah. You know, where they do the power boxes, just Bono's pox.
Yeah. Because that's it. That's just the best phrase. And every time I see it, I'm like, every time I saw it, I just crack me up. It's the most Dublin phrase ever, and it just catches up how everybody feels about Bono. It's just in one sentence. Oh man. Okay, there's 2 episodes we didn't talk about, and one I'm really shocked we didn't talk about at all is Treehouse of Horror 3.
Oh yeah.
It's funny. That wasn't as funny as I remembered, but I really like the framing device of it.
I thought the middle point with King Kong was a bit weak. The last part of it's pretty funny, where he raises the dead, but it's still okay.
Krusty.
The Krusty doll makes up for it.
Yeah.
It's so strong.
I thought the Krusty thing was weak, and I liked King Kong.
Oh, no, I love that Krusty doll.
Oh man, the Krusty doll.
I was raised on King Kong, so maybe I just I really like how they got the shots
as
right.
a counterpoint to King Kong.
But King Kong was always one of those things, for me anyway, that it was never a strong enough story in itself anyway, because it was a giant gorilla falls in love with a woman.
Oh no, man!
That's not entirely true though. If you've watched the original, though, like it's more of a sort of
so much more to it.
Yeah.
I watched
it's more about the capitalizing of foreign nations.
Yeah, and it's
that too.
I think it was the remake, the one with Jack Black.
Oh, the Peter Jackson.
That was 4 hours of my life that I will never get back, and I watched
4
it
hours
twice.
of everyone's life that no one's gonna get back.
Yeah, well, it was 8 hours of mine.
Like I remember going to see that, but we ended up sitting at the front row of the cinema, so I had to spend 3.5 hours like this.
Oh no!
But see, the second time I watched it, I actually timed it, and literally nothing happens right up until the hour mark.
Well,
it's a fun fact. It's the only. Do you remember those PSP movies you get to get on discs? It's the only one that takes 2 discs to play the one movie.
Because it was like 4 hours long.
The only UMD like PSP disc I have movies are Spider-Man 2 and The Matrix Reloaded, because I got it for 99¢.
Those are the only ones you need.
I got you beat. Resident Evil Apocalypse.
Oh, that's a good show. I actually love that movie.
That's exactly the movie you need on a road trip.
Yeah.
See, I'm a sucker. I've got 20 of them. I've got like a full collection.
Oh my god.
20 Resident Evils.
Well, I thought this was the future back then, before downloads and streams became
like
a
a
thing.
GameCube disc, but in plastic.
Mini discs, man. Mini discs.
Mini discs actually were really good. Actually, here's the thing. I discovered a YouTube channel last night where a guy talks about random tech, and he was talking about prison tech, right? Tech in prison.
Okay.
And he was saying the reason why cassettes were kept alive for so long is because that was the only thing you were allowed to listen to in prison. Plastic, clear cassettes. So there's a specific cassette that is only allowed in prison. And then everything plastic, so plastic TVs, but it's clear plastic, so you can't make a shiv out of it. And all this kind of stuff.
Something in it.
Hide something in it. Yeah, and I'm like, wow. So yeah, apparently until like the last revival of tapes, like recently, this is what kept them alive. Prisons. So there you go. So apparently Kanye West released an album specifically for prisoners, and it's a clear white tape, and he's like, if you ever see this, that's why. It's because they're for prisoners.
Good
it's like, all right.
Why would he do that? Prison's bad enough.
Yeah, well, apparently also you can't turn it up. There's no volume button. The volume button's disabled, so you have to plug in headphones.
Oh.
So yeah, there you go. But yeah, that's kind of how I see UMDs as well. It's a shame they didn't hand them out in prisons, because they probably would have kept them alive. There's no download.
Everyone in their prisons with their PSPs.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, look, I like the PSP, and I still do. It's just a shame that medium just died a death.
Much like the mini disc.
Mini disc was cool though. To be fair, the quality was pretty decent.
But the thing about the mini disc that's interesting is like it was still used propped up for a very long time by reporters because it was great for live recording
before the iPhone.
Yeah, before smartphones ruined everything.
Everything,
basically.
Yeah, literally. Like I actually have a bunch of mini discs. Have them as players still. My dad was mad into them. He loved the mini disc, and it was used a lot. Even when I started college radio, mini discs were everywhere. I was like, all right, this is weird. And then it's like, oh yeah, because they're for live recording. So yeah. And then the smartphone came along and, as Brent said, ruined everything.
Yeah. Like the internet objectively got worse once everyone had a smartphone.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
Now everyone's on the internet.
Yes.
Well, it used to be like the internet used to be like a break away from reality, and now reality is a break away from the internet.
Yeah.
So
the normies ruined it.
Yeah,
normies ruined it.
And now we know why Bryn refuses to use Windows.
Yeah.
Damn us normies, us filthy casuals.
Filthy casuals.
It's nothing about being a filthy casual. There's nothing wrong with having a casual interest in anything.
There's nothing wrong with being filthy.
Hygiene's very important.
Well, nowadays,
on the internet.
Nowadays, after the incident, of course, the happening,
the event,
exactly.
The event. Remain indoors, everyone.
The M. Night Shyamalan happening.
Exactly. You know what? To be fair, right?
Run from the wind.
To be fair, if the happening was, if what we got to happen at least to be interesting, we get to go outside and meet people, so that'd be more fun. Well,
The happening did predict someone getting fed to a tiger.
That's true. Maybe that was the confession.
Harold
I am alive.
What did he know? What did he know?
What a twist. What a twist.
What a twist.
Well, there is the whole conspiracy that he wrote 2020, so that could be the twist all along.
It would explain why bloody things keep happening every month.
I mean, like, with the way things are going, it's definitely riding up to the caliber of The Last Airbender. So, like...
When Lyle Lanley has started just eating your shirt there.
Well, look, guys, apparently crab people are the next thing to come, so...
Yeah.
Well, we've got the murder hornets, so why not keep going with the animals?
Actually,
actually, they're only murder hornets if they come from the murder region in France. Otherwise, they're just sparkling killer bees.
This is true.
This was something else that was predicted in that Osaka flu when they knock over and knock the bees. So maybe,
the flu and the bees.
The flu and the bees is like, watch out, guys.
But Darryl, we don't have to worry unless they nest specifically in hounds, and then when the hounds bark, they shoot bees out of their nest. They're really in trouble.
Oh, they're defending themselves somehow.
Maybe these murder hornets are just the placebos.
Yeah.
So we should eat them. Oh.
How do we get these placebos?
Oh my god. One final episode which we didn't talk about. It's not like the most sexy one. It's not the most fun one.
Sexy thoughts.
It does have some good. It does have.
That's a weird word to use, Dara.
Well, you know what I mean. It does have some funny jokes based actually on that. Where they go to the USO show and they get Little Miss Springfield and not Miss Springfield, and they start.
I love that one.
Bob Hope.
Little Miss Springfield, which one will it be?
Yeah.
Me!
So it doesn't have it doesn't have the best plot. It's not.
It does though. It does.
It's one of my picks. I love it a bit.
Okay. You know what? I know an MB.
Sorry.
I know an MB. Please talk to it.
Lisa, you go first.
I think I think right. So
overruled 100%.
I just think the quotes, and I think the whole thing is a parody thing of the pageant thing, which is huge.
Yeah, it's really creepy.
It's huge, but there was just so many little kind of gags, like Bart when he's wearing the high heels trying to teach her how to walk, and she's like, you really think I can win this thing? And he's like, hey, I'm starting to think I can win this thing. And then like when the false eyelash extensions, and they're like, eyelash extensions, I thought they were illegal. Not in Paraguay.
Barney and the Duff blimp crashing it, like
I do like the song. I like the song. The song is super good.
The best part of that entire episode, and he's got like the pickle.
your boy. Or like when there's like the talent portion of the beauty pageant, and it's just like one of Apu or his cousin's like daughter.
It's Apu's niece. It's Sanjay's kid. Yeah.
Sanjay's kid doing that really long like drum solo, and I'll never have that recipe again. And they're the only parents standing up clapping at the end.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being that parent.
Someone left my cake out in the rain.
And I love when Krusty's like hosting of the entire event, like because by that point Krusty's kind of been established as like this washed up kind of has been kind of TV host, and he's very self-aware, and the show is very self-aware that there's no glamour to this, and he's just there like, oh, this is always death, and get to know the girls personally. Oh, get to know the girls' personalities.
I do find it funny how it managed to parody Little Miss Sunshine like 10 years before Little Miss Sunshine came out.
Well, Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it.
Simpsons did it. Yeah.
And you know what? The anti-smoking thing, I think, has aged very well. Like, you know,
yeah, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
Like it is genuinely creepy when they're throwing them from a truck and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And Maggie just takes out her pacifier and puts in like a little cigarette. Like,
yeah.
But here's the thing: I'm sitting there like when I was watching that, I'm like, why isn't Marge stopping this?
Well, funnily enough, I think this is the pivot from
glamour.
Early on, Marge is like the social justice crusader, and now in this episode it's Lisa, and from now on it will be Lisa.
Well,
forever.
Lisa already had our run with when she took on Washington.
Yeah.
So she's been established.
Okay, that's fair.
She doesn't like Lisa doesn't lick it off a stone, so it makes sense that Marge kind of has that kind of streak to her as well.
Yeah.
You know?
We didn't really talk about the one where Ralph is in love with her, or Duffless either. I know we touched on them, but
okay, yeah.
I forgot about that
one.
Yeah. Which one first? The Ralph one.
Yeah,
Ralph.
Yeah.
They did the
choose you.
They did the mash. Did
the Did you push her on? Actually, we forgot New Kid on the Block, where the neighbor Bart fancies moves in.
Oh yeah.
New Kid.
That's good. It's fine.
Fun fact about
it's got
one.
Mo charging around with a knife and Homer stewing in all-you-can-eat restaurants. It's absolute classic.
Now my pants are chafing me.
About that episode, Bart actually gives Mo the wrong address.
Yeah. In the heart attack one, 742 is opposite Reverend Lovejoy's. I've seen people talking about this before. Yeah.
742 Evergreen Terrace.
Oh, how do we not talk about that?
Well,
bad cops.
Oh yeah.
I think this the first.
I can take my whole fist in here. Wow.
Again, tiger rustling. They were on the pop. They were on the pulse. Way before.
Wait, maybe if we like Nostradamus this out, this whole series is like predicting 2012.
How many times we got here, Dad?
We're through the looking glass, people.
We
you
stop
don't want to bring
recording
this
here.
to your conspiracy show.
I'm telling you,
stop recording here, then start recording another into the darkness.
And ever like,
what do you think you've been on, Kev, this whole time? Paying attention to the episode.
I can't escape.
Oh man, I don't know. There's just a lot. It's all starting to line up now. You know, starting to line up now.
You're just going to have to paste on random Simpsons predictions to the bottom of your vote and assume it won.
Did the Simpsons predict everything? Yes.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Okay, but like seriously, like I want to talk about the Ralph one because it really gets me in the feels from both points of view. Where I've been on both sides of it, where I've been Ralph not getting it, and I've been Lisa sort of like having the awkwardness. How do you guys like respond to this? Like,
yeah, it's like it kind of highlights the friend zone before the friend zone was even a thing. It's like showing that, like, because this wasn't something that was kind of talked about, and I know in recent years, especially with shows like Friends with Ross and stuff like that, the whole friend zone thing is quite a hot button topic. But it's just kind of highlighted back then that like you can have different kind of levels of friendship, and you know, friendship doesn't always mean like romantic intentions and stuff like that. And it's just like, how do you do that? And it's like sometimes, you know, being cruel to be kind, and you know, sometimes, you know, it's a very grey area, and I think they handled it really well, but I just feel really bad for Ralph.
They did, because Lisa does kind of make her feelings clear, and then the dad, like, gives him a bad lesson. Like, so there's lots of there's lots of levels to it. Like,
It ends really nicely though.
Yeah, and I'm gutted that Ralph didn't keep acting because it's a nice little hero moment for him. Like,
it is though. But I love when they're at the Krusty special and like Ralph like drops the ice cream on Lisa's dress and she's like, oh no, and Wiggum's like, oh, chocolate, nothing gets chocolate out.
And he just has a big massive stain on his like pants, like.
Yeah, it's like
see.
But my question to that is, does he only have the one pair of pants?
Yes.
Everyone in Springfield does.
Likely,
he has several pairs of pants, Dara, but they all have chocolate stains in the same place because he doesn't learn his lessons.
Fair.
Well, mind you, he does say after the horrible, not appropriate for kids story with Krusty, he's like, really? I keep my pants on in this version.
Also, I like the book ending of this where it opens and ends the same way with the DJs messing up and playing Monster Mash again.
Yeah.
So it's nice, you know. Okay, look, it's not one of my favorite episodes, but it does have a lot of really good moments. And again, we said this with pretty much all of them. Like, I think the difference between the Simpsons now at this point in season 4. Everyone's going to have their own reaction to certain episodes. And we've seen that even with the 6 of us. We all there's some that we all love. Monorail, obviously, being that one.
Monorail.
But
Monorail.
Even the Lisa and Ralph one, it has such a universal message in that, you know, like Lisa does something nice for Ralph because she feels bad that, you know, she doesn't want him to be left out. And then Ralph takes that niceness as in like, oh, she likes me, and that has happened to everybody. Like there isn't a person I know that hasn't been in a situation where they were nice to somebody and that person, because they were so starved of affection or whatever it was, they felt like that there was romantic intention. But the difference
and
is
then go all in with it.
The difference is this one then ends with them saying, actually, let's be really good friends.
It's a nice resolve.
It is, and it's one of those. Again, this could have been earlier on. It could have been in season 2. It even could have been season 1 actually, without the jokes. If you take all the crazy jokes out of it, it does have a lot of its heart still very much in it.
With the duck.
It doesn't feel
the duck walking off with
it has the message,
badge.
but it doesn't feel as ham-fisted about it as the earlier episodes did.
It feels like the perfect model for what they were trying to do in the earlier seasons. Like
they really hit their beats with this one. I think like this has your perfect combination of both, really.
Yeah.
Duffless is one that doesn't, but still
Lisa. Wait, hang on. Lisa, you, not Lisa Simpson. Like, how have you not talked about the most hamster-themed episode?
Yeah,
in
exactly.
The Simpsons so far.
Exactly.
I've been waiting on an episode for you to talk about this.
Yeah, it's like the only time I can.
Because I don't like that episode. I find it really dull and preachy. I like Nibbles the hamster.
Climbing the shelf.
I love the guy with the voice. I can't think of his name in the pet shop. And he's like, this little fella writes mysteries under the name of J.D. McGregor. And then he's like, listen, okay, just take him before his mates. That's like the one good bit in it. I just find that episode really dull and preachy.
You don't find Homer like getting stuck at the train tracks trying to resist the duffs that are falling from the air?
It just didn't do it for me.
Store.
I just found it too
buying
preachy.
Pornography.
To be fair, look, okay, I agree with Lisa in some sense. The actual like main plot is quite dull, but it has some excellent, like it has the best setup of the whole series. Like the opening segue where Homer's on this quest and he has to fight the spider. And he's like saying, like thou shalt not pick throws a rock at him. And then
I can't believe I thought you were going to say like the quality guy in the Duff Brewery and Hitler's head going by in a jar.
There's actually, as well as that, there's actually I don't know about on other streaming sites, but on Disney Plus the ratio is off, and so when they say like here's Duff Dry and Duff Light, and the other way it pans out and they're all coming from the one pipe.
I noticed that.
It's cut off so you can't actually see the gag.
I noticed that more in the one where Bar had a crush with the neighbor because entire people's heads were disappearing and all that kind of stuff. Like,
and this is why, for educational purposes, theoretically, you always sail the high seas.
Yeah. and by the high seas, you mean you
vast.
You test
you
your network
You
connection.
go about 5 miles away from a Dublin coast in a rowboat, and watch Simpsons there where they can't find you.
Exactly, legally, of course.
Kean, keep that.
International waters.
You're in international waters. I can call it what I want.
I know, and then you bring yourself a nice little portable DVD player or UMD discs if you have them, and watch them that way.
Yeah, and a generator, because I've made that mistake before.
You've gone out to sea without a generator.
Again, we have to remind you, we are talking specifically in an academic and theoretical fashion.
Yeah.
He would never actually go to the high seas to
are actually
watch
fishermen.
No.
You don't row out without training.
No,
theoretically, of course you don't. Theoretically,
of course.
Yeah.
For educational purposes, of course.
Yeah, of course not. Not educational. No.
Definitely.
All right.
But
so
always use a VPN.
Academically speaking, it's the best option you can have.
Yeah.
In theory.
In theory.
I'm
surprised you guys didn't talk about Gabbo more, actually.
Gabbo.
For some reason, I remember
Garbo is coming.
For some reason, I always remember Gabbo being a bigger part of that episode than he is.
Yeah.
He's always trying to
then when
Gabbo
kicked in, I just forgot about him because the variety show section is the way funnier part.
Look, those it's like that's gonna hold the little SOBs. Actually,
all the kids in Springfield are SOBs.
No, my favorite. No, sorry. While it does have my favorite Simpsons moment ever, it also has one of the best like little sight gags as well. Where after that, and then Kent Brockman says, "Oh, that's what holds the SOBs," and then it cuts to a paper and it's like Gabbo still celebrated. Kent Brockman fired.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like Mayor Quimby, like with the bodies like flushing up on the river, like Mayor Quimby says, "I've used public funds to murder my enemies, but I'm a bad widow boy." And that's the newspaper. It's like four bodies wash up on like Springfield beach.
Oh, that's brilliant. All right, guys. Well, look, we've gone about an hour and 20 minutes on this, so we need a rating. What would you give this season? Season 4.
What was last one? Last one was about 8.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 7.5.
7.5.
Ooh, it's going lower.
As I said I said off the top, the highs were higher, but the lows were a little lower.
Okay. Right. Keen?
See, weirdly enough, if I'd just seen this series, I'd have given it a 9, but I'm slightly about halfway through series 6 now, so I'd say I'd give it an 8, like last week, only on the promise that there's better to come. But a lot of my favorite episodes are in this season.
Right.
This is the first season where usually when we'd watch it with dinner and we'd watch 2 and we'd be fine, but this is the first season where we're like, another, 5 more.
Yeah,
like, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, you just kind of marathon through. Katie?
Yeah, I'd probably say about an 8.5 minimum, just because, and I'm not, I know Kev said the lows were lower, but if we just leave those out of it, because the good points were so
high.
good.
Yeah. Bear in mind that we're going to have bad seasons, and this is going to become an 11 in about 10 series time.
Exactly. That's why we're doing it this way. That's why we're saying the context. So we keep it like fresh in our mind how good the show was. Bryn?
So, yeah, I see where Kevin's coming from, but what I would say is I think that the weakest episodes still had very strong stories. And even though they wouldn't have been the funniest episodes in the run, the jokes that hit very, very hard. And I think the best episodes are head and shoulders better than the best episodes from the previous season.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I would give it an 8.5 as well, because I do think it is just...
This is all just coming from the fact that the softball episode is one of my favorites.
That's fair.
Actually, I want to circle back to Katie's point. Like, we nominated a control celebrity episode last week. Do you think any of them top the baseball episode? Considering we've got Krusty Gets Cancelled, has basically all the celebrities apart from Barry White.
I think that's still the benchmark.
Yeah, it's still the
I wouldn't say anything has topped it. I'd say some part like Adam West came very close. Just that bit alone came very, very close. I truly love
the Bette Midler cameo.
Look, I would say why is still the control. The Bette Midler stuff, a lot of stuff in Krusty Gets Cancelled, and obviously the stuff in Marge vs. the Monorail. But to be fair, I'm going to say this now before we get to Lisa. Marge vs. the Monorail is probably the control episode of Simpsons, like the peak of the show.
Of the Simpsons.
Which is weird, because apparently people hated it when it initially went out.
Of course.
It was more of like a mixed response. Like it didn't do very well ratings wise. Comparatively, it was kind of middle of the road. And people weren't overly hyped about it. But over time,
I wonder if Dara has this on hand now. I'm guessing that's probably the highest rated episode of the season right now.
It is, 9.1.
Yeah. Funnily enough, like, I mean, I know you've got your conspiracy theory about Homer's coma, but like, I think I mentioned this on an earlier episode. Leonard Nimoy beaming out is the first time they do something that can't exist in reality. Like,
well, look.
Yeah.
Look, what I would
unless he does that, maybe he did. I don't know.
Look, we don't know. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is actually, when we're on that theory, that's something we're going to actively start mapping now, because we might as well, right? But Lisa, where does this fall on your scale?
I give it a 6.5.
Maybe
pretty good episodes, but I just found that it was like I said, it was a 50-50 kind of series for me. Like, the half that was good was like top tier, then the other half just drags it down. So I'm gonna give it a 6.5 maybe.
Oof.
I mean, bear in mind that next season we open with the B Sharps and Cape Fear, so there's gonna be a lot of good ones for people in the top spot next week.
Taking this season as a whole, it gets a 6 for the great episodes, but it loses like the last 4 points for the really just dull, draggy, downy kind of meh episodes.
Yeah,
the individual gags in those meh episodes, I don't think are good enough to bring the score up.
And this was a season with hamsters.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, you've done something wrong if you can't make Lisa like hamsters.
Well, look, here's the thing.
That's my point. Like,
I wouldn't say 6.5. I would say, look, probably the best way to do it, right? When the show is bad, it's a 6.5. When the show is good, it's an 8.5. I think that's the best way to grade this. I would, because at some points I agree with you guys. On others, I agree with Lisa, because it does kind of drop at some point. But I cannot grade this lower than an 8.5. But I think the fair way to do it is when it drops, it really drops. But when it's high, it's so high that it carries the whole way through.
In the middle, like my 7.5.
7. Okay, all right, okay. You know what? 7.5 then. Yeah. Kev nailed it. But again, like, this does have probably the best episode of Simpsons. It does have some of the best moments. It personally has my favorite Simpsons moment, as I said. Like, just when that Jericho line, I just crack up completely. I just can't even control it. Like, so yeah, it's just so good. And look, if you haven't seen it, fair play for making it through a 90-minute podcast about it.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it,
we admire your patience.
Exactly. And if you have seen it, watch it again. You will not be disappointed. Here's the thing. Get involved. Let us know what your favorite Simpsons moment was. Comment, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. And we'll be able to interact with you guys there. Because I know Dave's very big on the comment and on the rewind. So we'll do that on the videos here as well. Guys, before we get out of here, there's lots to plug because these all have all the things that are happening.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start to my left with Katie. Katie, what have you got coming up?
Yeah, so we have episode 2 of Doing It for the Exposure is coming out Thursday at 1 p.m. GMT. And it's another episode where we interview another Irish artist and how they're coping with the lockdown and just general tomfoolery stories about, their careers. And I don't want to give it away, but it's a lot of fun. We're going to be talking to a photographer who shoots quite a bit of like horror gore stuff, so he gets mistaken as a serial killer quite a bit.
Right on.
It's just going to be great.
That's great. Keen, what about yourself?
Yeah, I've got a new episode of the Game Corner going out this Friday at 1 o'clock GMT. Katie, you're going to have to teach me how to talk like that. With Keith Byrne, who's a fantastic animation character designer. He works on Danger Mouse and loads of other things, as well as my good pal Martin, who has got a lot of Zoom games to recommend. Also, just kind of like literally before we started recording, we got our first 2 requests to be on the show from people I don't know, which I'm excited and terrified about. But it's nice to know that people like want to be on it. So if you want to be on the Game Corner, like hit us up on the Instagram, the Facebook, or the email, because I really want to hear from people during lockdown what they're playing. You're more than welcome on the show. So that's my plug, and thank you.
All right, Lisa.
Yeah, so episode 10 of Straight Outta Canto will be airing on Tuesday, 26th of May around midday GMT. Straight Outta Canto is an Irish podcast, 18 plus, for everything kind of horror, nerd, and gaming and J culture. And episode 10 is a Junji Ito special. So that's going to be very good.
I'm still so psyched about that.
Looking forward to that one.
Lisa, you're going to have to teach me how to market. That was a great plug.
Kev, I know.
Step 1, include Junji Ito.
Always. Kev, I know stuff's in the works, but...
stuff's in the works. The premiere episode of my new show, Anime Crash Course, will be hitting the sites on the 1st of June. Right. It's going to be an anime kind of book club recommendation podcast featuring Katie, Kian, Lisa, and Keith, who was with us at Anime Lockdown at our Doki Doki panel. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun recording.
Are we going to say what it's about?
It's like, no.
Right. Oh, gonna keep it close to the chest.
Got to keep a little bit till the time.
Right on. And Bryn, what about yourself? We got anything to plug?
Yeah. So, well, it's still in development. I've had some issues with getting the format right for it. But Tech Takedown is coming. Don't know when, don't know where. I'm aiming for early June. But as soon as I have more details and updates, I will be sharing them out on all of our social media feeds.
Excellent. Okay, and guys, that is the best way to keep in contact with us. Facebook, Instagram, nerdtoknowmedia.com. There's some updates coming from it. I'm working on a built-in stream player, so you catch the streams directly from the website. But Nerd to Know Media is the best way to reach all of us, and then through there it filters to all the Facebook, Instagram, all that kind of stuff, because we have so much content all the time. And if you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell, because there's so much content coming. I've been working through some older content, so there's a lot of reviews, a lot of special reports, stuff that people aren't even expecting is coming up soon. So look out for that. But for everybody on the show, guys, we have been Nerd to Know Media here on Nerd to Know Basis. We will talk to you next week, same time as always. Bye, guys.
Bye.